Good morning. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Facebook. Happy Thursday. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. It's 9 a.m. and it's time for our branding chat. I've been looking forward to this all week long. Welcome. Hello. Give you guys a second to join in. Looking forward to talking with everybody. Sorry, I want to get this shared to my personal Facebook page. All right, so we're set there. So good morning, how are you? My name is Tiffany Huckelman, and I'm the founder of Lone Orange, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited for these talks. I keep thinking about new ideas and things to talk about. So certainly if you've got ideas or you've got questions about branding or small business, please put those in the comments or PM me so I can get those answered. But ultimately, my personal purpose in this world, I think, is to help people to see and achieve their greatness. So every day I'm looking for opportunities to be able to do that, and I love to do that through branding, because when somebody has a dream, a small business owner has a dream to make a business a reality and to do something uniquely them, I want to help make sure that they can be successful in that. I've been in business for a little more than 8 years, and certainly not as long as many, but I've survived the milestones of where they usually say that businesses kind of conk out, and I've learned a lot along the way. A lot of hard knocks, a lot of difficult decisions, but luckily I've been able to learn something from each of those and make my business better. And so that is what I want to be able to do, is help small businesses really be able to navigate these crazy waters. And my personal skill and talent is through branding and graphic design and visual communications and getting your word out there. So that's why I'm excited about this particular topic, because it's a very foundational conversation to have. It's the question about, do I brand? What do I brand? How do I brand? Or do I rebrand? Is it time for a change in my business? And it's a big question. Good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome. If you're joining in this morning, please say hi in the comments so I can see that you're here and say hi. And of course, if you are watching on replay, please write replay or let me know in the comments that you watched on replay so I can also come back and say hi. I would greatly appreciate it. I also tried something a little different with Facebook today. There's a poll in there that just asks, have you ever thought, just any kind of thought, about rebranding or branding your business? Is it time? Should I? Is it worth it? Do I really want to? Good morning. Hello. How are you? Make sure you say hi when you show up so that I can know that you're here. So today, again, we're going to talk about branding or rebranding your business and how to go about deciding if it's for you. Because it's not, to me, it's not a decision to take lightly. Sometimes it feels exciting and fun because I'm going to go get a new logo, or it's time for a new business card, and all those are good and fun in the right time for your business. So it's an important question to be asking. Good morning. Hello. Make sure you say hi so that I know you're here. Write something in the comments or do a little wave, and certainly mark if you're watching on replay. So this is an important question for small business owners, because your brand communicates a lot. Whether you know it or not, it communicates a lot. And it's up to you as the business owner, as the vision holder, to decide and to define what it's communicating. That's the cool thing about branding and even marketing, is that you are telling people what to think about you, how to experience you, what to say about you when you're not in the room. You're telling them, you're informing them, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and this is how you can talk about me. This is how you can feel about me. This is how you can think about me. And if we don't do, as small business owners, especially solo entrepreneurs, if we don't do a good job of figuring out what that message is, then people will make it up for themselves. Because in a vacuum, the brain will just create, right? So it's our job, and it's very important to be able to tell them what to think about us. So your brand is actually communicating a lot, and it's using a couple of different mechanisms. It's using your visual identity as well as your verbal messaging and your language. So getting clear again on the definition and then being able to translate that into your visual and verbal is going to be pretty critical. So when you have a really polished, nice looking, well thought out brand identity, visual identity, and language identity, that's how you're gonna attract the right kind of clients. On the flip side, if you've got poor language, if you've got poor visuals, maybe they're sloppy, maybe they don't communicate at all what you're doing, maybe it's even just poor printing or craftsmanship, you can actually undermine what you think it's communicating. You don't even know it. And we've all been on the receiving end. We've all received a business card or a pamphlet or a flyer from somebody trying to get us to buy from them, and it's poor quality. Good morning. Hi, Liz. How are you? Looking forward to our conversation this afternoon. Welcome. So you can actually undermine what you are trying to communicate. So thinking about your brand, yeah, certainly there are cheaper ways to get a logo or a business card made, or your brochures, or even your websites. There's all kinds of cheap and sometimes even free ways of doing it, but you've got to think about the quality that you're getting to. This is your business. And I know that you're watching expenses. That's absolutely imperative. One, making sure that you got the cash flow and making sure that you got the profit margin, that sort of thing, but also making sure that you're communicating what you want to communicate. I get the question a lot about using 99 Designs, Vistaprint, that kind of stuff. I will never tell you no, because I've used Fiverr for things in the past. But what I will tell you is to be very, very selective about what you use, when you use it, what you're trying to achieve, and then how you're going to use it. So how are you going to communicate and get what you want? Good morning, everybody joining us. Make sure you mark on replay if you're joining us on replay. And if you're here live, please say something. Let's see, looks like I got to scroll here. All right, very good. So thinking about this whole concept of branding is actually a bigger question than a lot of people think. So here's a couple of questions that you can be thinking about asking yourself if you're wondering if it's time to brand or rebrand. So the first thing is, does my current brand communicate what I want it to? So is my visual identity communicating what I want it to? Is my verbal language communicating what I want it to? Is my website, is my business card, is my brochure, I'm trying to think, other thing, I mean, those are kind of the standard things. Are all those communicating what I want it to? From the look and feel, the style, the imagery, the language, of course, is that actually communicating what you have defined as what you want to communicate to people? Now here's the thing that I probably we got to back up a little bit. If you're not clear on what that is and what you want to communicate, then you got to go through that work first. And that's where I really love to dig in with clients to help figure out and help them define. I don't define for them. I'm not the kind of brand person who will wag my finger or tell you this is what you should do. I'm more about bringing out of you. My personal philosophy is that as a solopreneur or as a small business owner, you've got it all in you, and it's just about asking the right questions and listening and getting to that brand gold, digging in and getting to that brand gold. So making sure you've got a clear picture of what that is, and then asking yourself, is what I already have. So let's assume you know who you are and how you want to define that. Then you've got to ask, is what I already have. If you're thinking about rebranding, if you're branding and you don't have anything, then this is an easy answer. But does my current brand communicate what I want it to? Specifically, think about the visuals. So does your logo have the right colors, the right styles, the right imagery, those kind of things? Now, I mean, the visual communication can be very subjective, but there are also some things that are pretty clear cut about them. There's a lot of color psychology. So colors communicate a lot to us without even recognizing it. So making sure that you're choosing the right colors. Style, imagery that you're using, all of that goes into what's your visual identity, and making sure that the identity, as well as the what I'm going to call the craftsmanship, so how well your website is designed and put together, how well does it function, how nice are your business cards when you hand it to somebody, how well done is your brochure, any of the marketing material that you've done, whether it be digital or print, what's the craftsmanship? Does all of that reflect your value and expertise? And if it doesn't, then it's undermining it. And if it's undermining it, then you're not going to get the clients. So you've got to make sure that you have at least a good, polished, professional presentation. Excuse me. Let me take a quick sip here too. Hello, good morning to everybody who's joining us live, and good morning to anybody watching us on replay. Please make sure that you type in replay so I can come back to you and say hi. So that's the importance of your visual identity, and as well as your language. I mean, certainly paying attention to typos and grammar and that sort of thing, but also paying attention to what kind of language, how are you reaching them, how clearly are you communicating to them. And if it's important enough, maybe even having somebody else review it or help you with it. I've seen a lot of, not a lot, I've seen a couple of posts recently from business owners that they know what's going on in their head and they know what they're trying to say, but it didn't necessarily come out very clearly in the post. And I'm totally guilty of this. Like I'm probably picking this up on other people because I know that it's me. So making sure that you're stopping and rethinking everything that you're putting out there to make sure that it's clear to somebody who doesn't know you or who's somebody who's just stumbling across your post. Pardon me, now I got a bug in my throat. Okay, so another question. Let's keep moving through this. So another question. Are my services the same? Now, this would be if you're thinking about rebranding. Are your services the same? If they're not, then it's time to rebrand. If they are the same, then maybe, maybe not. It's something to weigh. Here's a good question for you. If you encountered your own brand, would you be inspired with trust and confidence? Good question for you, right? If you encountered your own brand, would you be inspired with trust and confidence? Would you be motivated to want to get to know you more, to work with you, to buy from you? Looking at it from the eyes of your ideal client will help you kind of determine that. And again, the opposite is your marketing material actually undermining the great work that you do. And it can very easily do that. And we'll talk about that in a couple of live sessions in the future. This may or may not be entirely, it's probably going to relate to, it could relate to anybody. Have you gotten any negative reviews, whether it be public, so on Facebook or Google or Yelp or something like that, or even just what you've heard? Have you gotten any negative reviews that make you wonder, were these people experiencing my company? Why is what I think my brand is completely different from what they're saying? Or even, this is always fun, is when you get a testimonial from a happy client and their testimonial is all about one thing, you're like, but that's not even what I do or how I want to market myself or what my brand is. If you've ever gotten those kind of experience, if you've ever had that kind of experience, then you've got a brand disconnect. And then it is time to really think through and really get clear and focused on what your brand is and how you want to define that. Because that is a sign of what you think you are is not what other people are experiencing from your brand. Another big question, do I have the financial resources and time resources to invest? What are my financial resources? Certainly if you're a brand new startup, you're probably going to be a lot less funded, if you will, but it's still important to look polished. So maybe looking for ways that you can still be clear and focused, but maybe produce a little less expensively with an eye towards saving and, down the road, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years, that you can work with somebody more expensive, but better quality, and be able to kind of up-level yourself. But knowing that you need something now and just figuring out what that could be. And certainly working with a trusted advisor on what that could be certainly makes sense. I have that conversation all the time with folks, trying to figure out if I'm not the right person to work with right now, then what can we do to get it done for you until you are ready and until you have the finances and the time to invest in this. Another good question, what trusted advisors can you call in for help? So when I recently did my rebrand, I found I had several people who I hired to help me, but I also have groups, masterminds, business support groups that I was able to tap into and ask for their feedback. And they gave me some great feedback that ended up making several changes and modifying my message and modifying even my visuals, because I know what I think it's communicating, but until I test it with people, I don't know what's actually going out there. So who can you tap into to get some of that help? And then kind of like what I was saying in the beginning, be real with yourself. Are you clear? Are you confident about who you are and where you're going? Having that vision is going to be critical. Knowing where you want your business to go is going to be absolutely pivotal, because if you don't have a clear vision, you're going to start heading one direction and kind of veering a different direction and coming back to the original kind of thought plan, maybe so, we'll know when we get there. You won't progress anywhere, really. So even if that vision changes, like, it's okay. My vision changes all the time. But having a vision, moving towards it, and then if in that process of moving towards it, you're like, this isn't the right vision, or I need to shift, then you shift. One of the most amazing things about being a very small business owner is that you can shift. You can shift on a dime. You can shift mid-sentence, rather than a large company who, it's going to be more like a battleship trying to turn. It's going to take a lot longer. It's going to coordinate with a lot more people. But solopreneurs, we've got, a motorboat that can make a switch very quickly. So making sure you've got that clear vision, making sure that you are clear and confident in what you're trying to communicate and who you are. My brain is going in 100 different directions of other things we can talk about, but I'm going to save those for future topics because we're already coming up on 20 minutes. So again, good morning. Make sure you comment if you're here watching live, and if you're watching on replay, be sure to totally stopped. My brain stopped. If you're watching on replay, make sure you type replay in there so that I know you're watching. I can come back and say hi. All right. So if you have any questions as you're watching this, or any questions that have come up, feel free to write them in the comments below, or feel free to private message me. Or if you want to have a conversation, there's a link in the description here where you can schedule a 30-minute complimentary, zero obligation conversation to see if it makes sense for us to work together, but to just kind of talk about your brand and figure out what makes sense for you, and how I can best help you. Maybe I can best help you by saying I can't help you right now. Come back to me and when you're further down the road. Maybe, yeah, there's all kinds of ways that I can help you, so that we can have that conversation if you're wondering about branding or what you should do. In addition, my most recent blog there's also a link in the description, and it's called Why I Decided to Rebrand. It's just kind of my recap of my own personal decision as a business owner, why I decided it was time to rebrand. I've been thinking about it for years, but it finally became time, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more next week too. Next week we'll be talking more about what that path looks like, just so you can see and know what to expect when you decide that you are going to start rebranding. When you have asked yourself these questions and you've determined, yes, it's time, I'm ready to go, let's do this, and you've made that informed business decision, which is super critical for businesses, not just an impulsive decision to go get our new logo, but to actually make an intentional decision and well thought out decision. If that's time, then I want you to just kind of understand what that path might look like. So next week we'll talk about what that looks like. You know, what happens, what comes first, what are the first things to think about, and then what comes after that. So again, thank you for those. It looks like Liz and Ann are on live. Hello, good morning. Hope you guys have a great Thursday. I'm actually talking to both of you later this afternoon, so that'll be fun. So we'll talk to you then. And again, please type in replay if you're joining us live, or if you're joining us on replay. Love to come back and say hi. So I will look forward to seeing you next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. So 9 a.m. next Thursday, and we will talk about the path to the brand. Have a great day. Bye.